and Reservoir. Now, despite a mention of a vehicle from Shorewood, right now it is unclear if it's connected to the shooting that injured a Shorewood police officer earlier this morning. We are looking at live footage of it right now. It does appear that Milwaukee police have a vehicle pinned in with a couple of armored cars and a Milwaukee police SUV. There are a bunch of officers outside of the vehicles right now. Suspects' doors are pinned in, so they are not going to be able to get out of the vehicle on their own. We also are getting reports of some loud noises from that area, possibly a flashbang grenade. So we will have more information on this developing story throughout the morning here on WTMJ. Speaking of that incident developed in Shorewood this morning, Shorewood Police Chief Heather Worth had an emotional plea to the community.
The violence in this community, Milwaukee, Shorewood, and the attacks against our officers has got to stop. It's got to stop.
So the officer that was shot was injured, has since been released from the hospital. Reports of 2 other people being shot as well. Unclear on the status of those 2. We're well now into the 6-hour mark of Hakeem Jeffries speaking on the House floor. They are delaying a vote on the president's spending tax plan. Hakeem Jeffries.
I'm here to take my sweet time on behalf of the American people.
The House rules do give unlimited time for leaders to speak, a so-called, quote, magic minute ahead of a final vote on a bill. That vote is still expected this morning. President Trump said he wanted a vote on that bill and it to his desk before July 4th. Here in the state of Wisconsin, things moving a bit smoother when it comes to the state budget. Governor Evers signing one into law overnight about 1:34 this morning. This happened less than 3 hours after it was approved by both the state assembly and the state senate. An early morning explosion in Hartford, leaving several people injured.
3 people are hurt, one severely after the blaze sparked by the explosion at Signacast on Innovation Way early Thursday morning.
There is one with severe injury. It sounds like one of the mods blew up.
Hartford Fire Chief Tony Burgard tells WTMJ the blaze was put out by 7 a.m. and the incident does not appear to have involved hazardous materials. This is the second major incident in Hartford this week following a 19-car train derailment in the community Monday. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Time now for some news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Green on the board across Wall Street right now. The Dow up 367. The Nasdaq up 194. The S&P 500 is up 49 points. It's financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. Details right now at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Times 10:04.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or Sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1-day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's 4 walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
When we're out in your town, come say hi as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show, wherever we may be.
You can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
News Radio 620 WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. They're the best in the business. They are CertaPro painters. Now's the time to get on their schedule. Their summer sales discount goes through the end of July. Do it now. They painted our house, the outside, absolutely fantastic. They're kind, they're thoughtful. They moved our patio furniture out of the way and moved it right back where it belonged. It is CertaPro painters. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. For your home or business, they're the best. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The Brewers and Mets wrap up their series this evening. Coverage on WTMJ starts at 5:35. First pitch at 6:10. Dodgers pitcher Clayton Kershaw becoming the 20th in Major League history to record 3,000 strikeouts. And in the NBA, the New York Knicks have their next coach. The team expected to hire former Cavs, Lakers, and Kings coach Mike Brown to lead the way next season. And taking a look at your roads and your WTMJ time saver traffic, things are looking pretty good across the system. We are seeing a couple of slowdowns heading southbound on 41-45 just north of, that's about Butler-ish, so right around Hampton. You'll be slowing down there with some ongoing road construction. Elsewhere across the system, things are looking good. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, partly cloudy, chance of a storm or two today, high of 83 degrees. Overnight tonight, isolated showers are likely, a low 68. Tomorrow, hot and humid with some showers in the forecast, a high of 90. Saturday, mostly sunny, hot and humid again, chance of a storm at night, a high 93. Sunday, chance of rain and storms, 83 degrees your high. And on Monday, mostly sunny, a high of 78 degrees. Right now, downtown Milwaukee, it's 78 degrees at 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Oh, did you want me to start the show today, Steve? Is that you readjusting your mic?
My mic
handing it over to me?
It was dropping as I was. This mic thing has been loose for like forever, but that's
That's not their problem.
That's not their. That's your problem out there in Radio Land. It's one of those days that just it's so frustrating because I mean we see these. I almost feel bad saying the repetition of violence and those stories. This one takes us to Shorewood, which is very close to where our old studios used to be, just north of the Capitol Drive studios. TMJ4 is still there. An officer shot, thankfully, according to the chief, vest saving their life.
Yep.
Two other people shot, which is the beginning of that story. And now as Mike Spalding was updated, Mike's sitting here. Might as well have Mike jump in here. We're watching this monitor. In this case, it's Channel 12 in Milwaukee. There was a police chase, a crash. This suspect apparently pinned in by the police vehicles. That's really all we know right now, right?
Yeah, it really is. You know, we heard over the scanner audio that that this car came from Shorewood. We know that there was that incident that played out this morning in which 3 people were shot, including a police officer in Shorewood. Milwaukee Police, Shorewood Police Department, yet to confirm that these 2 incidents are related. But if you are on the north side of Milwaukee, right around Velar, Phillips, and Reservoir, there's likely that you've been told to stay inside your house. You're seeing a couple of armored vehicles out there. They have apprehended some sort of suspect in a black Mercedes. They do appear to be extricating that person or trying to from that vehicle right now. So it does appear that we're on the precipice of it coming to an end.
Yeah, but as of this moment, not connected. Not confirmed connected.
Not confirmed connected one way or another. Again, you did hear that the car was traveling from Shorewood to the north side of Milwaukee. So you can infer some things there, but nothing confirmed yet by MPD.
Police chief in Shorewood said the incident did not appear to be a random act of violence. No. It's another one of a series of shootings of police officers. Obviously, the big one last week, which has resulted in the death of an officer, and that's sort of a recurring theme. When you look at these stories, I guess from a news perspective, I'm not sure beyond just reporting them what we can really say about what this is suggesting about where Milwaukee is going, the city of Milwaukee, the suburbs of Milwaukee, as far as violence related to these sort of events. It's just sort of this, as I said, a repetition of stories.
You hate to say, like, when it rains, it pours, yeah. But that is kind of what it feels like is happening right now. And all these incidents, these 3, because, again, you had shots fired at police near right here by Velar, Phillips, and Reservoir as well. It doesn't appear anybody was struck, but, I mean, you could say this is the 3rd time in a week and a half that we're talking about something like this.
Well, It's interesting because homicide rates or shooting rates have been going down.
Yes.
And so we always know that there is a spike when it starts to get hot and the summer is coming. This is a terrible way to start a holiday weekend. Is the stories still contrasting what the data says as far as frequency, or does it just feel like there's more because they're higher profile with police involved?
Well, they're higher profile, I think. I don't think there's much of a change. It just comes with reporting. It's like missing persons. If all of a sudden we started talking about every single time we got a missing person, you'd be like, wow, there's a lot.
Yeah.
No, there's not a lot. or there's not a lot more now. There's just a lot more that we're reporting on. And a lot of times, honestly, like in the news business, if it's a non-fatal shooting, it might not get mentioned in the news. And every single shooting is like 2 inches away from becoming a fatal shooting. So when you're looking at overall, gun violence rates, there's always that thing like, well, no one died. Yeah, okay, but people are still being shot. And just by the grace of God that they weren't killed by it, because if it's 3 inches one way or the other, it could be a totally, completely different story.
Totally by chance, but we're actually going to be talking about gun violence at 10:35 this morning with an organization called WAVE,
which is the Wisconsin Anti-Violence Educational Fund. And so, because one of the things that came up as we were talking about the aftermath of Officer Corder's death is what can be done. Someone had thrown out red flag laws, and it didn't seem like that was necessarily applicable to that case. But when we talk about what laws can be passed as far as getting less guns out there, because we just know how many guns there are. And actually in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel this morning, the alleged shooter in that case got his gun legally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not an illegal gun. And so what are the situations that we can actually start curbing how many guns are out there, how accessible they are, and how much violence they're creating?
The chief of police in Shorewood, I believe it's Heather Worth, said this morning. We need individuals to report active acts of violence because we know that people know this is going on. We know people have guns illegally, and we need reports that that's occurring, and we need the community's help to end this tragic violence. I know the police chiefs, first responders are feeling this, and I've reached out to a few people to sort of get the mood of what's going on, because as you said, we've had many, many instances of this in the last few years, and obviously in this last 2-week period, at least 3. So it's concerning. We'll take a break here. Kristin and Steve will stay on this story. Thanks to Mike Spalding for jumping in with us on this developing story of the shooting in Shorewood, and it's something going on at 6th and Reservoir, Val Phillips area. We'll continue that coverage and a lot more on Point Taken today on WTMJ.
The Upswing with Jeff Sherman.
We curated a really good list. Good variety of vendors who are selling at Summerfest. In terms of the setup and the takedown regularly at Summerfest, how do you deal with that?
A team.
Yeah, good.
Other vendors have been so helpful.
It takes a village to raise a business as well, doesn't it?
That's so true.
Saturdays at 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Horicon Bank, the natural choice for all your banking needs.
Hey, it's WTMJ. Steve Scaffidi for Milwaukee Weight Loss. Yes, I've been on the journey for it since January. So what is that, about 6 months? Lost, get this, 40 pounds. Secret, by the way, to losing 1 pound of fat every day in the reduction phase. I'm in the maintenance phase now. Their doctors have developed easy-to-follow weight loss program. I could do it. You can do it. Helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely. No drugs or injections. None of the risk of serious side effects. None of the gimmicky stuff, the meals, bars, shakes. You don't even have to exercise if you don't want to, but I encourage you to get out there and walk. 10,000 steps is a good idea. Their program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach, and their coaches are amazing for all the ongoing support you need. Their program, get this, costs up to half as much, works up to twice as fast as most other programs. You get results. So if you got a wedding or a trip or something you're looking forward to going to, or a class reunion, go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Schedule your free consultation to get you in the shape you want to be. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. I did it. You can do it too. Call 262-449-1180, 262-449-1180, or go online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Here's to experiencing it all this summer in Wisconsin. Every deliciously cheesy, rockin', magical, fireworks-filled, festival-loving moment. There's Cheese Curd Fest in Ellsworth, Strawberry Fest in Cedarburg, Festival of the Arts in Stevens Point, and the Renaissance Fair in Bristol, Honor the Earth Powwow in Hayward, Mile of Music in Appleton, Venetian Fest, Brat Fest, Summerfest. So many fests for your whole crew. Find them all at TravelWisconsin.com.
There's nothing out there close to this.
As I said at the beginning of the show, lots of developing stories. We haven't even gotten to the state budget bill, which was passed and signed at like 1-something in the morning.
1:32 in the morning.
And there's a reason why that's happening.
Yes. So the reason why that's happening is basically they were fighting against the clock against Congress's mega bill. So basically, had the Congress's budget become law first, Wisconsin could have lost out on more than $1 billion in federal funds to help the state pay for Badger Care, Medicaid. And so now this helps hospitals offset losses from treating low-income patients. So that's because what the sweeping changes in the Medicaid bill in Congress is going to be. So there was bipartisan urgency, both on the side of the Republicans in the legislature and on Tony Evers, because usually Tony Evers, when he signs his budget, it's the middle of the day, there's kids around him, it's like a whole thing. But literally the pictures of him signing it last night, like sleeves rolled up, I think his tie was a little undone, and it was, and then they got it done. This is the fastest I think that he's ever gotten it done since being governor. Yeah,
they were afraid. Everybody was afraid that if they didn't do it, billions of dollars potentially would be lost. And you can thank this big budget bill, or whatever they call it now, because that created the sense of urgency. So to Senator Ron Johnson, who's complaining about the fact that this is happening, you voted for this. What did you think was going to happen? The state was going to just suck it up and say, oh, we'll pay the $1 billion? No, that wasn't going to happen. That's why these things happen, and that's why ramming through anything with the speed in which this has been rammed through. Now, the interesting...
Which one? Because they're both happening. And then, because I think that is a little bit...
At least the state one is bipartisan.
The state one is bipartisan. No one got everything that they wanted. I know that there's a fair amount of people on the left who are both lawmakers and... let's say activists or involved constituents who are saying this doesn't go nearly enough with public education or childcare accounts, and that there's a lot leaving there. Obviously, there's a lot of fiscal conservatives who are like, this is too much spending, but we got a bipartisan negotiated bill, and it's better than no bill. I would say from my standpoint, what is happening with this new budget is better than the budget we've had the last 2 years for some of the things that I care about.
Childcare?
Exactly. And so we move forward here. But I will say it is, because everyone right now, unless you've been following, if you've been in the Capitol and one of the Capitol reporters, are like, what's in this bill, right? And starting to parse out what's actually included in here. And there wasn't really a chance to call your representatives and be like, hey, I don't like this, because it all moved so quickly. Unlike the barrage of calls I know Congress is getting, because there's been such a huge campaign to try to, because no one's happy about this bill. It feels like
even the people
who are voting for it.
It's like insane. This is what we've come to in politics. They're all barking about the fact they don't like it, but yet Republicans are saying, well, we're going to vote for it anyway. And again, I'll give the president credit. Whatever calling he was doing yesterday, he got these 10 Republican members of the House who were like, "Oh, I'm not voting for it. I don't like this," and blah, 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 which is essentially what that is if you end up voting for it. He got them to switch their votes to say, you know what? It's not that bad, their opinion.
Do you want to know something funny? Is it Fitzgerald that flipped his vote to a no yesterday?
Yeah.
What I found out about that, the reason he's a no is not because of the Medicaid, not because of it increases the deficit. He had a provision in the original House bill about the gun silencers, and they took that out. So he's pissed about that, and that was why he became a no.
So that's out now.
It is out.
See,
it is out.
That's why people say, why don't you talk about the specifics? I never talk about the specifics until the final bill is done. I will review this bill maybe at the end of the weekend, and then I'll be able to have an informed opinion about it.
Did you hear why Murkowski ended up voting yes?
No.
Because she got a provision in there for whalers to be able to have a business expense on different hooks and fisherman equipment.
Yeah, all this stuff
is just some of this stuff is just
it's
really?
Ass kissing is what it is. I said it, Jazz. I said that. Yeah.
I think you can say that.
You can say it on the air. I'll say it again if you tempt me. No, this is what it is. This is what we get now. And if they want to speed these things along, and look, I'm not a fan of Hakeem Jeffries. He's an awesome leader for Democrats.
Why are you not a fan?
I'm not a Democrat, and I don't.
Can you not objectively say?
I'm going to say some nice things about Hakeem Jeffries.
You don't have to. Okay, whatever.
I'm not going to vote for Hakeem. Not that I could.
Yeah, not that you could.
Or if he has ambitions that I ever will. But he's a good leader for Democrats, and I applaud him for his sort of saying, you know what, I'm just going to stand here and talk, and whether he does it or not will be the question. Could he do it until the end of this day?
So this is what, who was reporting this earlier today? This is from, I lost it. But basically, if he goes until, I think it's 1:30, this is Jake Sherman. So Jake Sherman was reporting that basically, if he goes until 1-something today, 1:26 p.m. today, he will break the record for the longest floor speech. Currently, do you know who currently holds that record?
Not Ron Johnson.
Kevin McCarthy.
Oh, that doesn't surprise
McCarthy
me.
spoke for
Yeah, it
8
doesn't
hours
surprise me.
and 32 minutes.
I mean, the whole thing here is if he can push it off. He's probably not going to be able to do it because I have some knowledge of Speaker Mike Johnson who'll find some way to shut him down at some point because he wants the votes. He wants his members to be able to go home and celebrate the 4th of July tomorrow.
Walking all those parades that
Walking
they're
all
invited
those damn
in.
parades, shaking all those hands, and then remember those hands you're shaking because you're going to probably screw them over on the things that they expect from their leadership at their state level at some point in the future, because once they find out what's in this thing, again, we don't know because it's not final yet. We'll get closer to that early next week. The whole thing's nuts to me. People, someone on text said, "You're not a Republican, Steve. There's only MAGA." I'm the kind of Republican I want to be. I could care less about MAGA. MAGA's stupid to me. I love the idea of it, but it's not. There's no follow through on any of this stuff. It's like the Doge thing. It's all superficial nonsense. There's no follow through. You give me a MAGA that actually does make this country great, I'll sign up for that. I'm not going to wear the damn hat because I never wear hats, but I'll sign up for that one.
Shirt.
Maybe a shirt. We'll see. And I am a Republican because I voted that way most of my life. All right. We're just getting warmed up. We got great guests on the program today. From Wave, who's our guest?
Oh, sorry.
I didn't mean-
Our guest is the Associate Director of Wave. His name is Nick Matuszewski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all those folks are saying, well, you don't talk about gun violence. We're going to talk about gun violence and what's going on and what people are actually doing about that subject other than just yakking about it or talking about conspiracy theories. We'll get to that. And then Jeremy Janine always joins us on Thursdays.
Yep.
And there's a lot of, I don't know if they're the best stories, but there's a lot of interesting stories, including that flag stuff that just never, ever goes away in Milwaukee. Woo! Just getting warmed up. Kristin, Steve, point taken. Thursday on WTMJ.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
How do you get pee out of an old mattress?
Well,
I'm asking for a friend.
the best way to remove urine from a mattress is to trade in that old mattress for a new Beautyrest or Sealy Posturepedic.
But that'll cost a lot of money.
Not at Hasselus Mattress. Through Monday, trade in your old mattress and get additional savings of $248 off a queen and $348 off a king. And that's on top of our everyday low prices.
Come on, everybody says lowest prices.
Others sell a Sealy Posturepedic Queen Emeryville A mattress for $1268. Hasselus sells it for $1034, but through Monday, it's just $786. And check out the low prices on Beautyrest and more. Plus, free next day delivery.
What does my friend do with his old soaked mattress?
We haul it away for pee.
What was that?
Sorry, I meant for free.
Sure you did.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
The historic Fox and Hound Supper Club is open tomorrow on the 4th of July. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Celebrate the 4th with a free dinner at the Fox and Hounds, one of the most beautiful and affordable summer dining destinations. The Friday haddock fish fry is all you care to eat, and it's one of the best. I love it. I also love the perch. All other dinners are buy one, get one free. Desserts, that great dessert tray when it comes around, yeah, buy one, get one free. The pan-fried walleye, scallops, grilled salmon, mahi-mahi are all fantastic, and all entrees are buy one, get one free, including the steak and lobster. Relax with a cocktail on the gorgeous patio in the woods, then dinner in one of the 8 unique dining rooms. The Fox and Hounds, just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of Holy Hill. The drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest is spectacular. Celebrate the 4th tomorrow with the all-you-can-eat fish fry. All other dinners are buy one, get one free. Serving lunch Saturday from 11 till 2 and open tonight and tomorrow, the 4th of July at 4 p.m. The Fox and Hounds.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments, Behind the Bucks is Bucks history like you've never heard it before. Go behind the scenes of the Emmy-nominated Giannis documentary. Get the real story of the blockbuster trade for Damian Lillard. Hear the origin of Bucks in 6. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus audio network, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts. Is it really the city that never sleeps?
New York, New York.
Or is it the city that never swings?
3-2 pitch. And he got him looking with a slider. Jacob Mizorowski, his 8th strikeout of this game.
The Brewers head to the Big Apple to take on the Mets.
And about as fired up as you'll see him running back into that first base dugout.
Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 5:35. We are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Glide through my headline to fear.
Wonder where Tony Evers is on his sleep schedule, because he was up very late last night. He's probably still sleeping. All those folks in Madison and the reporters who covered it, because they were cranking out stories.
I'm sure they're still writing stuff today. I'm sure
Yeah.
people are actually trying to read the bill today and have a little bit more of an explainer of what it means and the winners. And I'm sure Bice is working on his winners and losers article as we speak.
Let me ask you this. You're a Democrat. You identify as a Democrat, liberal, sort
Whatever,
of.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever. That side of the aisle.
Yes.
I think this is a win for
I do too.
both
I
sides.
feel like I am. I don't know how I identify.
We're talking about the state budget.
So
that
some
was signed.
people, I think, depending on who looks at the stuff that I put out, would either call me a staunch progressive, which I don't identify as, or center left as being more moderate. I think I'm pretty level headed. That I can recognize what is good governing versus the utopia of how you want the world to look if it was up to you. And so I'm a little frustrated with some of the Democratic politicians who, were calling it, having social media posts saying, call your Democratic representatives, tell them to vote no on this. So it kind of seemed like they were trying to kill this bill. There are some people who are just frustrated that this doesn't go far enough. But it's just like, what would you have them do? It seemed like the options were, we get no bill, we get no budget because Republicans push through everything that they want and Evers just vetoes the whole thing. We keep kicking the can because no one can come to the table, or people come to the table and they get something done. It was a bipartisan. I mean, it was not on party lines, right? There was Republicans who voted no in both the Senate and the Assembly, and there was Democrats who voted yes in both the Assembly and so I think we moved. I think we moved forward, and it's maybe not as far as people wanted to go, but that's what this looks like.
So what do you say to Senator Chris Larson and Francesca Hongs, who just want to blow it all up? And
I mean, to them, so we were talking about some of the people who voted no, and it's like, if you're trying to run for a different office, and some of this is the political show of it, right?
Sure.
So what your voting record is when you have to go back to your constituents and say, this is what I was trying to fight for. And so if you're in a super left district, like Larson, like Francesca Hong, maybe that's your morals. Maybe that's for your political stance and being able to say, this is what I ran on.
if I said it this way, it's what they have to say. Is that being unfair?
I think it depends on who you're talking about, but sure. I mean, I think it's having, because I think Jody Habush-Sinekin voted no because there was funding for UWM, which is her district,
Right.
that got taken out, right? And so I think that there are certain things as far as standing on what your business is of saying why I said no, while still knowing that you didn't block the bill because the bill had the votes.
Got a great guest coming up next half hour. We are actually going to talk about gun violence in a way that probably doesn't get talked about enough, and what you can do about it. What might we do as a country, as a state, as a community on a very difficult issue?
That doesn't include coming to take your guns.
Yeah,
There's a middle ground between having stronger gun laws.
Having known the founder of WAVE very well, I know that's what they
and
believe.
us taking your guns. No one's asking for that. Actually, speaking of that, I got to go shooting for the first time recently. We'll
we
talk
can
about that before the end of the half hour.
All right, so we got local news with Mike Spalding coming up before we get to any of that. We always do that at the bottom of the hour. And the top, here's now the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. He's been talking since 5 a.m. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries speaking out against President Trump's spending bill. He's been listing everything the Democrats think is wrong with the spending package. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he will call a vote, and he does expect the bill to pass after Jeffries sits down. The Labor Department says the nation added 147,000 jobs to the U.S. economy last month, more than economists had expected. In the midst of the trade war, the nation's trade deficit is also growing.
The U.S. is still importing far more than it exports, as reflected in the numbers from May, with $279 billion in goods and services going out and $350 billion coming in. The figure tumbled in April by the largest amount on record as companies and consumers no longer were rushing to get imports ahead of President Trump's tariffs.
ABC's Jim Ryan, 14 people wounded, 4 killed in a drive-by shooting in Chicago that happened overnight. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times 1031. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers putting pen to paper on a new state budget. The budget's passage in the early morning hours today followed swift action in both the state assembly and the state senate. The 2-year spending plan comes with a price tag of about $111 billion. Increased parts costs, bloated overtime, and now fare skipping, all being at least partially blamed for a 7-figure budget deficit for the Milwaukee County Transit System. MCTS is saying that 2024 fare evasions reduced their revenue by about $4 million, with a system-wide fare evasion rate of about 25%. Time now for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow up right now 336 points at 44,819. The Nasdaq up 208 at 20,601. The S&P 500 up 51 points at 6278. Financial planning at every level. It's Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. Details right now at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads and your WTMJ time saver traffic. Things are looking pretty good across the system. We are seeing some slowdowns both sides of 41 right around Capitol Drive up near Hampton. It's near Butler. It's where that construction zone is. So if you're headed up in that direction, you will be tapping your brakes. Also noticing a bit of a slowdown 41 northbound right near North Avenue. Some construction cones there as well. So if you're headed in and around downtown Milwaukee, just be aware you might be on your brakes, but the rest of the system is looking pretty good. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, partly cloudy skies, a chance of a pop-up shower or two today, high 83 lakeside, 88 degrees inland. Overnight tonight, an isolated shower is likely, partly cloudy otherwise, a low 68. Tomorrow, hot, humid, chance of a shower, a high of 90 degrees. Saturday, mostly sunny, hot and humid, chance of a storm in the evening, a high of 93. And on Sunday, chance of some showers and storms, a high 83. Monday, mostly sunny, cooling down quite a bit, a high of 78 degrees. Right now in Milwaukee, it is 81 degrees at 10:33. I'm Mike Spalding, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 10:33.
Some things are fine to buy from a vending machine, but despite what a certain national online company tells you, a car's not one of them.
Let's see. Cheese Doodles, Mr. Nougat Bar. Oh, here we go. Green 4-door hatchback. Honey, we're gonna need some more quarters.
Sure, they make it seem convenient, but it won't be so convenient if you have a problem with the vehicle you buy. And if it's after 7 days, good luck. Adam member dealers also let you search online. And unlike those national companies, you get to see the vehicle in person and test drive it before you buy it. You also have the assurance that the vehicle's been thoroughly tested, and if any issue does come up, your local Adam member dealer is right here to service it. And can also provide low financing and top dollar for your trade. Think about that before you take a chance with their so-called vending machine.
What? It's stuck. No! Oh, rats.
Start your search at adamm.com.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Certa Pro Painters. They painted the exterior of our house. I loved it because they're thorough and they're thoughtful. As a matter of fact, they pointed out some wood that might need to eventually be replaced. They just looked at the whole house, and I felt like they absolutely cared. Get on Certa Pro's calendar right now. The summer sales discount goes through July 31st. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C for your home or business. They'll do it the right way the first time. Each Certa Pro Painters business is independently owned and operated. It's Certa Pro Painters.
An unsuspecting driver at a Milwaukee barbershop.
I got an apprentice here shadowing me. I'm gonna put this hot towel on, man. About a good 3 minutes, all right?
The apprentice is Donald Driver.
So when you come here, you drive?
Yes.
Your car got seatbelts?
Yeah.
You wear them?
No.
Okay, but why not?
I don't want to.
But do you know you can get a ticket for that? I'm gonna give you a ticket. I bet you wish you buckle up now.
Oh my God.
Donald Driver can't always be there to remind you.
Take it, click it. There we go. Click it or ticket.
And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways. Sponsored by Wisconsin DOT.
Welcome back to Point Taken on this 4th of July Eve.
Yes.
Post Hump Day, Thursday. What are we calling today? July 3rd? I'm Kristin, he is Steve, and we are very excited to talk to our next guest, Associate Executive Director Nick Matuszewski, who is from Wisconsin Anti-Violence Effort Educational Fund, or WAVE for short, which is a statewide gun violence prevention organization. Nick, welcome to the show. I don't think we thought this was going to be as timely as it's ended up being, considering there has been another police officer shooting in Shorewood this morning, on the heels of the Milwaukee police officer who died recently, and even before that, earlier this month, the shooting that happened in Minnesota with the tragedy that happened there. And so it just feels like there's a lot, and there's a lot of different types of violence that happens with guns. And so we're very excited to have you on to talk through it all with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. And, speaking of the saliency, there was also, I don't know if y'all heard, but a mass shooting in Chicago early this morning. 4 people have died so far, and there's quite a few more injuries. So, it seems like in every day, there's just more and more gun violence that keeps piling up.
One of the things that frustrates me, and I was a mayor when we had a mass shooting in the city of Oak Creek, and I sort of lived that story, and I spent years traveling around the country talking about gun violence and its impact on communities and individuals, in that case, people of a certain faith. When you sort of hear these stories or read about these stories, mass shootings or police shootings or the literally execution of elected officials in Minnesota, as somebody who works for an organization like WAVE, what is your response to the people that say, well, this is the price of freedom. We live in a country where there's a Second Amendment and there's really nothing. They throw up their hands, essentially, and there's nothing we can do. What's your response to that?
It's really frustrating because, we live in a country that has incredibly high rates of gun violence across the board compared to other similarly situated countries. But what we do have are states that have kind of taken the lead on this issue and put into place sensible gun laws, things like universal background checks, extreme risk laws, so on and so forth. And those states have significantly lower rates of gun violence than we have here in Wisconsin. So for anyone that says, what's the point? You can't solve these issues. These policies are pipe dreams. They're not going to work. I would just encourage them to look at the states where they have been implemented and where they have lowered rates of gun violence. And, to the other point about freedom, well, what about the freedom to not be afraid to go to school for our children? What about the freedom to, not be afraid to go to a place of worship? I mean, it's one thing to say that we have this Second Amendment right, but it's another to realize that with that right, there comes a certain amount of responsibility. And we know the policies that would reduce gun violence drastically here in Wisconsin, and they're not things that would infringe upon anybody's Second Amendment rights. I mean, these are policies that have been taken to the courts over and over again, and repeatedly, justices of, liberal and conservative ideological bends have held up these laws as constitutional. So I just think that it's a lazy argument to say, well, we can't do anything because it's not going to work, or we can't do anything because it's unconstitutional, because both of those things have repeatedly been shown to be false.
I believe everything you just said from the bottom of my heart, but how do we make that argument better so that more people, responsible gun owners, who are out there saying, you know what, we believe in some of these things, red flag laws and background check, but yet we don't
more training.
More training, just any training in some states, in some communities. How do we make that argument better? And I guess more importantly, how do we start to elect leaders in our state and in our country that actually support these things, where they'll actually vote to implement these ideas that you've just described perfectly, actually work in the places where they actually have them?
The interesting thing is that these policies that we're talking about here are overwhelmingly popular. I mean, background checks poll something like 85% in Wisconsin. So there's no doubt that we could be doing a better job of educating the public around why these policies are necessary. But what we've seen is that there's not really a correlation between what policies are popular and that poll well and the policies that get passed. What you actually see is that the policies that are supported by, high moneyed interest groups, or, in this case, we're up against the NRA and the other gun lobby folks who get all of their money from a gun industry that doesn't want any regulations. I mean, every gun that's sold makes the NRA a little bit richer. and every policy that allows for more guns to be sold makes the gun industry a little bit richer. So you have this cycle that we really need to do everything we can to address. I mean, you kind of nailed it when you said that it's about electing the right folks. We're a nonpartisan organization, but it's very important that we educate the public and let them know who does support the policies that would reduce gun violence and who doesn't. I mean, the number of conversations I've had with folks in the state capitol who will tell me sort of in secret that they support us, but there's just a lot of moneyed interest against voting in our favor. It would surprise you, I think. And it really does come down to elections, but it's all just so frustrating.
Nick, what do we know about the breakdown of death by guns in Wisconsin? I know that the number one category is actually suicide. But then there's also, because I think high profile shootings often include like the shooting that happened in Madison right before Christmas last year. And then being in Milwaukee, there's inevitably gun violence like we're seeing this morning in Shorewood, like we're seeing with the shooting last week. And so what is the breakdown of those categories? Suicide, accidents, random shootings. And also, do we have any data as far as in those instances when they're guns that are owned legally versus illegally?
Yeah, so I think you nailed it by saying that suicides is by far the highest number of or form of gun violence. Other than that, you do see high rates of homicide, and the rates of homicide have gone up quite a bit since 2018, and really after the pandemic, because what we saw in 2020 was that we had the highest rates of gun purchasing that we had seen in quite some time. And then in 21 and 22 and 23, we've seen the highest rates of gun violence. So I think that kind of speaks to the point that the gun lobby wants to tell us that more guns in society makes us safer, and that's clearly just not the case. The other forms of violence that are really prevalent, like you're talking about, homicides are definitely prevalent. Accidental shootings are less prevalent, but they do happen quite a bit still. We always encourage parents, if you have a firearm in your home and you have children around, you have to lock your firearm. You have to keep your ammunition stored separately. Otherwise, we see tragedies all the time where young children get into a loaded firearm, think it's not loaded, end up pulling the trigger and harming themselves or somebody else. So while those incidents occur less often than suicide, they're still a very real concern.
Absolutely. He is Associate Executive Director of WAVE, Nick Matuszewski. Thank you so much for spending time with us today, Nick.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Nick.
All right. Time is 10:44. This is Point Taken on WTMJ.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi, and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, they clicked on the blue button. We sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day and upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval shortly thereafter. We also let them know about AccuNet's property-specific pre-approval, where we might be able to include those magic words, no appraisal required. When they wrote their next offer, several $1,000s over asking to make sure someone else didn't end up sleeping in their dream home, their property-specific rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval did include that most powerful phrase, no appraisal required, and the sellers picked Steve and Ashley's offer over several others. If you think all mortgage lenders and pre-approvals are the same, think again. Go with the local mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win. We'll also likely save you $1,000 to $3,000 in closing costs for exactly the same rate as your bank. Whether you're looking to buy or refi, click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Happy 4th of July from the Mine Shaft Family Restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mine Shaft is open tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. on the 4th of July, so don't turn on your oven. Enjoy a super affordable lunch or dinner at the Mine Shaft. The Friday all-you-can-eat haddock fish fry is $7.99. What a great fish fry. What great value. Desserts are buy one, get one free. Enjoy a huge 18-inch pizza, a pitcher of beer or soda, and 100 game room credits to the world-class game room for under $45. The pizza easily feeds a family of 4, and your kids will love that world-class game room. Buy one pizza today, get a second pizza free. Order now and pick up shortly or dine in. It's fun and it's easy. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and in Oshkosh. Big food, big fun. Just walk in today for your free Thursday pizza. The Friday all-you-can-eat haddock fish fry is $7.99. Wow! That's what I'm talking about. MineShaftRestaurant.com.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlands.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you a free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchey with Richlands. You're due for service.
Richlands.
Covering a lot of stories this morning on Point Taken with Kristin, Brey, and Steve Scaffidi on 620 WTMJ. And we're hearing from sources that the suspect in the Shorewood shooting early this morning is now dead. We'll have lots more of that coverage today throughout the day on 620 WTMJ, but that's what hearing from multiple sources now. So I guess that's a good thing, that at least that suspect is not at large anymore. There's a lot of pieces of that story we don't know yet, including what happened earlier this morning at a home that's literally blocks away from where our old studios used to be on Capitol Drive. And you used to live around there, right?
Well, I used to live around where he was apprehended.
Yeah.
But where I live now is not too far from Shorewood either.
Yeah. So we're going to continue to follow that story. You know, we're talking about gun violence, and I always want to tell people, because whenever we talk about gun violence, or I've talked about it on my other shows, and everybody knows my history, that I sort of lived this story from a leadership perspective. So I guess I kind of know the ins and outs, and I've met with every organization. I've spoke around the country. I spoke in Congress about these issues, and with every elected representative from Wisconsin at the time when I was an elected official. So I feel like I have some knowledge of it. I'm not someone who says throw out the Second Amendment or come and seize your guns. What I'm saying to you is, I think as a gun owner, I think I represent a lot of gun owners who feel like, you know what, there should be some common sense legislation. And I know that's not popular with some gun owners.
If you can get a driver's license and have a car, maybe it should be at least as hard as that.
And it's become
like a license and
you would
insurance
think. And a little training with a firearm. I know this because I was at Mission 94, who's one of our great partners here at 620 WTMJ. Also do a lot of safety training, and they can teach you how to use a firearm properly. I just don't understand this pushback that there can't be no rules. What in our life, what do we do on a daily basis that has zero rules? Like, what would that be? What other thing? There aren't any examples, are there? Maybe we get to breathe. Even that has rules because there's EPA and all that stuff. It's like, why would that one thing be protected? But then they forget about the fact, but there are rules. You can't bring a firearm on a plane. There's already that rule. You can't have some military-grade weapons. That's already in place. So apparently someone agreed that there can be some rules, but yet I still get this pushback. People say, you will not touch anything about my firearms or my weapons or my guns ever.
And I think it's interesting. So one of the most fascinating things I got to do last year, so John Dietrich, investigative reporter at Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, his ongoing series is looking into gun deaths in Wisconsin. And so his first part of that series, award-winning, was looking at the suicide rate and how many, specifically middle-aged white men, are killing themselves with guns.
Yeah.
And it was, he talked to gun shop owners. He talked to people who sell guns. He talked to people who, like, veterans and all of, such a deep dive into it. And I got to go to Wausau last year and help moderate that conversation. And we did it in Wausau because we were hoping more people who needed to have that conversation would be there. Because the thing is, what I realized there is someone who, like, we have guns in the house. I am not a gun person, which gets back to Mission 94, which we'll table for a second. But, it made me understand the fact that, like, people who are gun owners, people in the gun community, don't want people who don't own guns telling them what to do.
Sure.
Which I do get, right? It's like, you don't understand guns. Like, you don't understand what it takes. You don't understand why I have them. Like so to be lectured by people who don't understand something, honestly, it's kind of like when people try to lecture women about abortion and reproductive care. It's like, do you know what you're talking about? I was going to say a dirtier joke than that, but I'm going to withhold. And so I get that. And so it's like the conversations happening within the gun community. And that event is what exposed me to that. But it feels like there's been a big block in the NRA wanting to facilitate those conversations for gun owners, keeping other gun owners safer from keeping with training, with gun locks, with gun safes and all of that. And so it's like, it's something that I think has to be a movement from within. And I totally agree with that. But people got to start like stepping up and taking charge on that. And
I know we got to get to break, but if you ask me, do I think that we'll see some common sense legislation? I think at some point we will. This is just a generalization, and I know I do this probably more often than I should. I have faith in younger generations on this issue. I think they understand. They've lived through school shootings where my generation didn't really have that.
Drills.
Drills. Yeah. I think there's an understanding there that maybe at some point will lead to some developments that are positive when we're talking about gun violence. Quick break here, 620 WTMJ.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix It Show with David Nason, featuring great tips on how to operate your home. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi. Again, for Annex Wealth Management, because I love talking about them. If you have big questions about your inflation, money, and retirement goals, join John McCure on Tuesday, July 15th. Tuesday, July 15th. Bring your questions. They answer questions on the webinar. And John's co-hosting with the brilliant chief economist for Annex Wealth Management, Brian Jacobson. I've done webinars with him. He understands these complex issues. Tuesday, July 15th, 9 a.m. They're going to talk about the inflation data that gets released, what that means for your investments, your 401k, which a lot of people have, the economy. Look, there's so much information flying around right now, and you need straight answers on your money. Brian and John will give you all you need to know about inflation, what to look for next. Visit WTMJ.com, click on the Instant Insight Register Now button. Easy to do. I've done it. You can check out all the events also at AnnexWealth.com, which is always a great place to start for all of your financial questions, planning questions. That's Tuesday, July 15th at 9 a.m. with John and Brian Jacobson. Register today, July 15th, 9 a.m. John McCure, Brian Jacobson. Find it. You want to register for that.
Whether you're chasing early morning trout or trolling for walleye at dusk, Fleet Farm's got the fishing gear you need at the best prices guaranteed. Like Zebco's Rome Blue Spin Cast Reel, on sale for $29.99. The Okeechobee Fat Soft Side Gear Bag is now only $19.99. And Reef Runner's Flash Shad Lipless Crankbaits are just 2 for $17. Turn bites into bragging rights with the right gear from Fleet Farm. And check out all our weekly deals at fleetfarm.com.
Staying active, essential for overall health. Proper medical support, essential for staying active. WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Whether it's keeping a weekend warrior like me on the tennis court or keeping young athletes in the game, you want the best in sports medicine, that's OAW. Surgeons, nurses, and physical therapists help you recover from injury, avoid injury in the future, and enhance performance. Get care 7 days a week. Walk right in at an Ortho ASAP clinic or book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
Escape the city and relax at Lake Lawn Resort in beautiful Delavan, Wisconsin. Enjoy outdoor activities on Delavan Lake, tee off at the Lakeside Majestic Oaks Golf Course, or unwind at the award-winning Caladora Spa. With both indoor and outdoor pools, there's fun for the whole family. Take a cruise on the Lake Lawn Queen, explore stunning shores and historic landmarks, and enjoy delicious food and drinks on board. Book your stay today at lakelawnresort.com, where everything is better at the lake.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Not a slow news day, that's for sure, with stuff happening in Madison, Washington, D.C., and obviously Shorewood, and then later in Milwaukee with, from what I'm hearing from sources, the shooting of the suspect in that earlier shooting in Shorewood. You know, we were talking about gun violence, and I guess for me, it is something that I want to continue to talk about. But really, other than the superficiality of what you get on a lot of shows now, it's like they cover the story, then there's the thoughts and prayers moment, then there's the first I should say there's the press conference, then there's the thoughts and prayers moment, then there's the vigil, and then it goes away. And we often don't get to the part that really matters: is how do you remedy that? How do you slow it down? That's why these conversations we've had in this last half hour, I think, are important, that we're going to continue to do this, because otherwise we're just throwing up our hands, and I don't want to be that person. And I do have a connection because I had to live through one of these things, and I didn't like it then, and it pisses me off now that somebody went to their place of worship and they got shot, in one case, in the back of the head. Seriously? In this country? School shootings where, and you know, I can remember the day that Sandy Hook happened. I could not believe it. First graders, are you serious? No, should not happen. And we're going to continue to talk about this issue because it matters. That's the world that we want to live in, one that's safe for people, not just talking about our rights, but also mentioning, hey, you know what? There's responsibilities with that too. That's the kind of country I want to live in, and I know you do too.
I absolutely do.
Busy hour coming up. Stay tuned. Lots more to get to. 620 WTMJ.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. You can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Summer savings don't get any better than Colder's 4th of July weekend sale. From June 20th to July 7th, shop Colder's. Unbeatable deals store-wide and save thousands on your next home upgrade. At Colder's, they guarantee that you're getting the best deal in town, but during their 4th of July weekend sale, you can stack your discounts for even more savings. Save 60% on furniture and mattresses. Take an additional 10% off. Wow, that's a great deal. I've just shopped at Colder's. Great service, great showrooms. You're going to love it. Plus, you can save on appliances, too. Take an additional 5% off on top appliance deals you won't find anywhere else. Colder's has a huge selection of kitchen and laundry appliances from all your favorite brands, and you're guaranteed to get the best price only at Colder's. There are 4 Colder's locations: West Dallas, Oak Creek, Delafield, and Grafton. Hurry on in or shop online at Colders.com. Don't miss out on their 4th of July weekend sale going on from June 20th to July 7th.
Get more for your money, Colders.
The Upswing with Jeff Sherman.
We curated a really good list
good variety of vendors who are selling at Summerfest. In terms of the setup and the takedown regularly at Summerfest, how do you deal with that?
A team.
Yeah, good,
Other vendors have been so helpful.
It takes a village to raise a business as well, doesn't
That
it?
is so true.
Saturdays at 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Oregon Bank, the natural choice for all your banking needs. The biggest gig in the world has finally returned. Summerfest is here, and WTMJ will be broadcasting live from the Pillow Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio, right on the lakefront. Come by, say hi. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 11 o'clock, I'm Vince Vetrano. It is partly cloudy today. Chance of some pop-up storms this afternoon. High 83 lakeside, 88 inland. Tonight, an isolated shower or storm possible under partly cloudy skies with a low down to 68. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center. Still happening north of downtown Milwaukee.
Hey, this is Glendale Police in pursuit. Black Mercedes shooting vehicle from Shorewood.
Police scanner audio video capturing shots fired toward Milwaukee Police 6th and Reservoir. Despite the mention of a vehicle from Shorewood, we are getting sourced information that this vehicle and perhaps the suspect inside is connected to the shooting that caused the injury to a Shorewood officer earlier this morning. In Shorewood,
Turning onto Wood. I was turning onto the 1700 block of Wood. I got hit by about 3 rounds to my squad. One hit me in the shoulder.
that officer now out of the hospital after being shot responding to a separate overnight incident in that North Shore suburb. This was just off of Oakland Avenue, Bartlett and Kenmore. Officers arrived on scene, and according to the police chief there, one of the squads took fire from a shooter. Shorewood Police Chief Heather Worth had an emotional plea to the community.
The violence in this community, Milwaukee, Shorewood, and the attacks against our officers has got to stop. It's got to stop.
An earlier shelter-in-place order had since been lifted, and again, we are monitoring the situation just north of downtown Milwaukee as it appears police have closed in on the suspect in that shooting. Well, into the 4th hour, now 5th, and I think we're into the 6th. I don't know. No, Jeffrey's at 7+. I'm just looking over at Steve Scaffidi here. We're watching this live as it happens, still on the House floor in Washington. The Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, repeating what he had said not long after he began speaking hours ago in opposition to President Trump's tax cuts and spending bill.
I'm here to take my sweet time on behalf of the American people.
He's done that indeed. House rules give unlimited time to leaders to speak, the so-called magic minute, ahead of a final vote on the bill. That vote expected today. President Trump has said he wanted the spending bill on his desk before Independence Day. Overnight in Madison.
Let's get this over to the Secretary of State. Go.
That's Governor Tony Evers signing into law a new state budget in a race against Congress here to ensure Wisconsin gets a federal Medicaid match that it might lose under President Trump's bill that is being debated right now in Washington. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos praising the quick work by lawmakers to get that budget to the governor.
It took us a little longer because of negotiations, but I think considering the fact that we've normally passed it by the 30th, it's like 2 days or 3 days afterward, I think that's pretty darn impressive.
Governor Evers has promised to make a decision on whether he will run for a third term in office following passage of the budget. An early morning explosion in Hartford left several people burned.
3 people are hurt, one severely after the blaze sparked by the explosion at Signacast on Innovation Way early Thursday morning.
There is one with severe injury. It sounds like one of the mods blew up.
Hartford Fire Chief Tony Burgard tells WTMJ the blaze was put out by 7 a.m. and the incident does not appear to have involved hazardous materials. This is the second major incident in Hartford this week following a 19-car train derailment in the community Monday. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Increased parts costs, bloated overtime, and now fare skipping, all being at least partially blamed from a 7-figure budget deficit for the Milwaukee County Transit System. That system now facing an audit, which County Executive David Crawley tells WTMJ may have factored into the head of the County Department of Transportation, Donna Brown Martin's decision this week to resign.
Did the audit that we asked for related to MCTS probably contribute to her retiring? That is a strong possibility.
MCTS estimates the 2024 fare evasion reduced revenue by about $4 million, with a system-wide fare evasion rate of 25%. Time for news about your money. WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up more than 330 points to 44,822. The S&P 500 at 6280. That's up 53. And the NASDAQ up 217 to 20,610. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:06.
From those with no experience to firearms enthusiasts, all are welcome at Mission 94 Firearms Education Center. The staff is deeply committed to providing a welcoming and engaging environment for everyone at every level. Learn the right way to handle firearms, level up your skills, and experience replica firearms from different historical eras while learning about their role in protecting our freedoms throughout history. Visit veteran-owned and managed Mission 94 in Kenosha today. Check out the 5-star reviews. Just Google Mission 94.
WTMJ's John Mercure here for Annex Wealth Management. If you have big questions about inflation, money, and your retirement goals, join me Tuesday, July 15th with your questions as I co-host an Instant Insight webinar with Annex Wealth Management's Chief Economist, Brian Jacobson. It's July 15th at 9 a.m. It's free, but you must register. Go to WTMJ.com, click the Instant Insight Register Now button, or check out events at AnnexWealth.com. Tuesday, July 15th, 9 a.m. It's free, but you need to register.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeanssitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Hey there, did you hear? There are still spots open for Girl Scout Summer Camp 2025.
Whether you're into water activities, arts and crafts, sports and games, exploring nature, or even horseback riding, there's a camp just for you.
Choose from GSY's day camps, overnight camps, community day camps, or Camp Hero.
Bring a friend and get ready for a summer full of adventure, friendship, and leadership. Register today and let's make this the best summer ever, Girl Scout style.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update for the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. Brewers and Mets set to wrap up the series this evening. They split the first two games in a doubleheader on Wednesday. Coverage on WTMJ starts at 5:35. First pitch set for 6:10. Dodgers pitcher Clayton Kershaw becomes the 20th pitcher in big league history to record 3,000 strikeouts. We'll see the Dodgers in Milwaukee when the Brewers return from their road trip next week. Take a look at the roads, your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic Report. Let's go over to I-41, and in Wauwatosa, things very slow as you approach North Avenue. In fact, backups starting almost at Watertown Plank Road on the northbound side of I-41. Things will start to loosen up once you hit about Hampton Avenue. Now, that's just where things continue to be slow. Coming in on the southbound side, so just south of Good Hope Road, slowdowns going all the way past Hampton Avenue on southbound 41. No other major slowdowns in the area. A little bit slow on northbound I-43 on the other side as you make your way through the Shorewood area. That's slow from Capitol Drive to Hampton. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Partly cloudy today. This afternoon, chance for some pop-up storms. High 83 lakeside, 88 inland. Isolated shower or storm is possible overnight with a low down to 68. Friday's high, Independence Day, 90 degrees, hot and humid, and a chance in the morning of a shower or storm. Most of the day looks dry. Saturday, mostly sunny, hot and humid. Chance of storms at night, high 93. Cooling off by 10 degrees with a high of 83 on Sunday with a chance of showers and storms. And Monday, right now, looking mostly sunny and a high of 78. Right now, it's 79 in Milwaukee. I'm Vince Vitrano, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:10.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
You bet it is. And this is the last hour we're going to do before we head to the holiday weekend, and I'm looking forward to the holiday weekend. I'm going to be at Summerfest this afternoon.
I am as well. Do you think we'll be there at the same time?
No.
Will you be gone by like 5:30?
Maybe. No, we might still be there. So if you're there, text me.
All All right.
And here's my reminder. So if you recognize me, I've had this pledge for at least 5 years. If you show me your hospital ID or your medical provider ID, I buy your first beer. I've done that
What
for
if
years.
they've already had one beer?
Well, my first beer that I'm buying them. I'm sure they
You'll
probably,
buy them a beer.
Yes. I've done it at State Fair. I've done it at Summerfest. I always love it, and the conversations are amazing. But I appreciate your work. So it's my pledge to you that if you show me that, I will do that for you. Now, not everyone carries it, so I know that's a challenge too. But if you take me up on it, I'll be more than happy to buy you that beer. Maybe a Miller High Life like I'm going to probably have.
Oh, is that your go-to?
I think so.
Instead of a shandy?
Well, you're giving me all this grief about having Negroni as a summertime drink. It's like in the daytime.
You can't have a lot of them.
No, not a lot, but you certainly can enjoy one. I don't know if can you get a good cocktail? Where would you get a good cocktail?
Keg and Cask?
Yeah.
When I was there last week, had a pretty good bourbon, not cheap. It's a double, but it's like a $20 cocktail.
But
it was
if you're going to
good.
have a drink and a cocktail, it should be a double.
That's true. But
honest.
it was pretty good. And so
Otherwise, you're just getting the ice cubes wet.
Yeah. But yes, I will also be there tonight. I'm excited to see Benson Boone. Should be a fun show.
So as we're chatting about Summerfest, we're watching the monitors and Hakeem Jeffries, whatever you think about him, is holding court.
Still there.
I wonder if he's got it in him to just blow this thing up today. Just to screw over all the Republicans who want to get this done and want to go home for the
that would
parades
have
and the
to break
fireworks.
even what
Yes.
Cory Booker did
I think so.
earlier
Yeah.
in this year, right?
Mhm.
Because that was over 23 hours that he went.
Long time, yeah. Long time. He broke the record.
And so, he broke the record for the Senate.
Yeah.
This is, as I said, it's going to
House.
be one. Yeah, so this would be for 126. The record is from Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
At over 8 hours, and so
He's
we
close.
will
He's at 7:18, so he's
yeah,
getting there.
well, that's what it said. As far as so
It's
it
already
would be
the afternoon
12:26 our time.
Yeah. Here's an interesting banner
Let's see
that
if
I
he's
saw.
still up there by the time we finish the show.
He'll still be there. The banner that I saw that was interesting to me because I assume all the Republicans and conservatives think this is a done deal. They got the votes, but it said, according to Speaker Johnson, they're confident they have the votes needed to pass this bill. That's like no guarantee. Wouldn't it be something if Jeffrey stops talking, which is still an if, they get to the vote and one member of the Republican side of the aisle says, you know what? I don't think so.
I wonder if he's convincing more people to vote for it or to not vote for it.
He being,
as he said, Jeffries, as he's up there, as far as people just being annoyed, being like, oh, I'm going from a no to a maybe to a yes just to get this guy to shut up.
Yeah, maybe.
And just out of resentment. Or if he's actually holding the time and the space for more people to be calling their representatives to express how they feel about it.
Real quick, we're having a text conversation last night about whether the President of the United States knows what's in this bill because he keeps talking about no changes to Medicaid.
Well, so yes. So this is, I don't quite understand as far as what this actually means. So Notice reported on Wednesday that House Republicans had to tell the president that his big, beautiful bill was indeed slashing Medicaid. So he had a sit down yesterday with the more moderate House Republicans. And in that meeting, apparently, he told them the three things they needed to, like, if they wanted to win in 2026, that the three things they needed to not touch in this bill was Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
And then one member told the president, but we're touching Medicaid in this bill. And so it's like, I don't know. This just goes back. It's like, does he know what's in the bill? Does he know what this is doing? I know that there's like so much of his agenda that is like pushed in here, but does he know about this part? Because this is what Tom Tillis was saying. You're lying. You're basically lying about your campaign promise about not touching Medicaid because it does.
To answer your question, to any high level of detail, no. And, I said the talking point yesterday, and somebody got mad at me on email. And you can always email me at steve.scaffidi@wtmj.com. This thing is hinged on this idea, talking point, not even an idea, that by removing illegals, immigrants, or whatever term you want, undocumented, from the Medicaid rolls, that you're going to somehow save all this money. That's not happening.
First of all, they don't get it from federal funds. There's certain states that choose to pay for
but they're not federal funds. They're
undocumented.
state funds.
They're state funds, and so it's not federal funding that's going to
So
Medicaid.
that argument
but
doesn't make sense.
So what they're cutting out, they're basically like leveraging states to not be able to do that.
Yes.
They're saying that people who are not eligible should be kicked off and should be reserved for, low income, elderly, disabled. But it's just, there's just not proof that that's going to be how this plays out. That like it's going to be all tightened up. and we're going to save money because only the people who are supposed to get it are going to get it, and that we're not going to lose money by hospitals closing, care becoming more expensive because hospitals have to charge more because they're not, when people go through the ER and they have to actually provide care to those people, but they don't have money to pay for it. Where do you think they make that money up from? By increasing the expense on everybody else.
Yeah, just like they try to pass this stuff on to the states, and the states are saying, you know what, we're going to pass our bill right now because we're not going to take that money.
And I don't know if people know this, but Medicare doesn't cover your long-term, like nursing homes or assisted living.
No.
Medicaid covers that.
Right.
And what happens is you have to spend down your entire life savings before Medicaid kicks in to pay for your $5,000 a month rent at an assisted living situation.
Yeah. Which is not a good situation, which is very sad that we actually make people go
There's
through
predictions right now that 1 in 4 nursing homes is going to close.
that. Yeah. And, you know, for that reason or the fact that they don't have people to work in them. A lot of bad things. So dig deeper than the headlines. Think more than just the MAGA banners. I understand people love MAGA in this country. They voted for that, but dig deeper on this stuff. You'll actually be surprised. And we got to get to break, but to hinge all of your hopes and dreams and prayers and thoughts and whatever on the fact that they've figured this out and they're going to save money, maybe. How's that worked out? Not too well. Deficit is exploding. All right, after the break, great local reporting on politics and more. Jeremy Janine, urbanwalkie.com is where you can find his great work. That's all coming up after this on 620 WTMJ.
Monica, we've got to hand it to you.
You and the design team have outdone yourselves. Are you talking about the One Collection? Those rings say you are the one.
And they say it symbolically.
Describe the symbols.
Every ring in the One Collection should be presented with a special ritual.
What would that ritual be?
You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, wherever you go, my heart goes with you.
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart. The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment. The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
The One Collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's. To find the Kessler's nearest you,
visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Hey, Wisconsin, it's construction season, and the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones in your area. Check 511wi.gov or download the free 511 app to see current road work, closures, detours, and camera views on your route. Wherever your travels take you, know before you go with 511wi.gov. That's 511wi.gov. And remember, know before you go. Always park the phone while driving. Sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. It's the best time of year in Wisconsin. It is summer, and it is on big time. We've got you covered. Still looking for some ways to fill in a couple of weekend days, maybe a quick vacation, a romantic getaway, or time with the family fun in Wisconsin. We've got you covered. It's Experience Wisconsin, Saturdays at 1 o'clock. This Saturday, it's Ishnala, the iconic supper club, and Ann Sayers, the travel secretary, talking beach getaways. Experience Wisconsin, Saturdays at 1 on 620 WTMJ.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Thursday, everybody. We'll call it 4th of July Eve. 'Cause I'm in this big habit of calling everything Eve now. What would Monday? So Monday Eve would be Sunday. It gets too dangerous. I'm not going to do that anymore.
So one thing we should open by talking about, I have long called July 3rd Suburbs Day, because of the fireworks that the lakefront would bring everyone into the city.
That's interesting.
And then on the 4th of July, the inverse would happen. Everyone from the city would go out to the suburbs.
Since you brought it up, tonight's the big drone show, right?
Tonight is the drone show.
So have we seen a move away from they can't camp anymore or do any of that crazy stuff?
Yeah, the one thing I would say to people that are considering going, it's in a different location.
Yes.
It's slightly north at McKinley Beach. The county has produced a map of go here if you want to see it, go here, little kind of different viewing zones. There were some complainers on social media earlier.
No, what? People were complaining on social media?
Hard to believe, but it did happen that they used to watch it from the Kilbourne Reservoir and River West. They watch it from South Shore Park and Bayview, and they're probably not going to be able to see the drone show. So if you're basing where you're going to go based on your fireworks experience, think a little bit closer.
Can you see it from Summerfest, do you think?
I don't know. The one thing I don't know about the drones is I believe they're pretty mono-directional.
Yeah, that's my understanding,
That's
too.
what I was wondering.
You got to be
as far
straight
as, 'cause
on.
fireworks you can really see from a distance in a lot of different, as long as you have the eye line to it. But the drone show, I didn't know, because I haven't seen one, what the radius is of being able to enjoy it.
And there's people talking about going out on boats, and I don't know, because just thinking about how my drone looks, the light is on the front and the body of the drone's on the back. So if you're behind the show in the water,
you're not seeing anything.
You might not be able to see it.
Oh, they'll see the lake side of the Hone Bridge because that's lit up now, isn't it?
That's lit up. Although again, they're going to be further north. So, and there is a drone show again coming up the 4th of July at Summerfest. So you have 2 days in a row you can go see drones.
How about that? All right, so what do we want to start with today? You have a long list of topics. EVs is on your mind, you're writing about?
Let's start there. The news in August of last year was the city won a $15 million grant to build 200 EV charging stations from the federal grant. The idea was Milwaukee doesn't have great access to EV charging by these national metrics of how many public chargers there are. I personally see them really well used at the Meyer and Oak Creek, and there's.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, they're
they added some more.
Yes, that's the photo in this article is there's all these chargers now. I don't think they're being used in the photo, but if you go down there, they're well used. Milwaukee doesn't have that anywhere. So this grant was supposed to.
You know who the mayor? No, never mind.
Go
ahead.
Some
it never gets old.
Yes, I deliberately walked into that one.
You did.
So this grant was supposed to build 200 different charging ports across the city, 50 locations, parks, libraries, different places. People would have to pay to use them. A private operator would manage it. Well, of course, the Trump administration came in, and EV money is one of the things they're looking at clawing back. But what was interesting at the Common Council yesterday was Alderman Robert Bauman going, I'd cut this program if I was the federal government. Now, he's an EV supporter, so what's happening there? Well, the city's spending $2 million of this $18 million program just doing design and environmental review. They're checking if there's endangered animals. This is all federal requirements.
Oh, trust me, yes.
They have to check if there's endangered animals, if there's historic properties nearby. Just an insane level of review. They also, and this is the big issue of where you'd want to put chargers in Milwaukee, probably want to put some downtown, some really popular spots. Well, you can't put them anywhere people have to pay to park. Well, that's a lot of spots in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So we end up with a proposal, 13 sites. They wanted to put them at the zoo. Can't put them at the zoo because you have to pay to park at the zoo. So they're going next door to the zoo.
The trick is to utilize spaces that aren't really utilized for anything else at the edges. That's what we did in the Meyer parking lot, essentially. And would it surprise you to know that I'm a hybrid owner?
A hybrid? A plug-in hybrid?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jeep. Yeah.
Okay.
I love it, actually.
So the challenge the city has is, okay, half of them are going to be at libraries. Very logical spot. You can walk to the library. Meyer, you can go walk to your shopping and to everything else.
And restaurants.
Yeah, Drexel Town Square, all kinds of stuff there.
You know who is? No, never mind.
As the former mayor of Oak Creek would say with his hybrid. Veterans Park, though, is one of the locations. And this is where Robert Bauman was about to pull his hair out. He's like, well, what are you going to do when you're there? You can fly a kite.
Yeah.
While you're waiting?
You could watch a drone show if you're there one of the 365 days of the year.
If you're lucky enough to be there that day.
But otherwise, you really got to plan this out. So there's a lot of questions about this. The biggest question, though, is are the feds going to give the city money for anything more than planning? They've released the planning money. They haven't released the go build it money.
A texter saying, I'm not swearing by this by any stretch of the imagination, lights on drones, these drones are omnidirectional. I don't know if that's true or not.
This
Guess
person
we'll find
sounds
out.
like they know what they're talking
We'll
about.
have to talk about it
And
on
that would
Monday
make
because we have
sense.
no show
All right.
tomorrow. All right, let's take a break.
Yes.
And we come back. Jeremy Janine from Urban Milwaukee will still be here to talk about all things Milwaukee. So stay with us on Point Taken.
Are you worried about running out of money in retirement? Wondering about how to pay less taxes? Join me, Tony Drake, for the Retirement Ready Show live every Saturday at noon and Sunday at 7 a.m. on WTMJ 620 or 103.3 FM. We'll talk about smart strategies to help you retire with confidence. Don't miss it.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
Here's to time out on the water in Wisconsin. To living your best life while enjoying the lake life.
Ready?
And getting up on a wakeboard the very first try. Or not. Here's Here's to wearing only swimsuits and wishing this perfect day would never end. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Start your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
A great way to add value and curb appeal to your home is with a new LiftMaster or CHI maintenance-free garage door. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. A study by Remodelers Magazine reports that the average return on investment is an amazing 82%. Garage doors rank first among all home improvement projects. To see Geis's huge selection of doors, visit their showroom in Brookfield, or you can also visit their online showroom at geisdoors.com. Geis has everything from alley doors to custom wood designer doors and everything in between. Remember, for all your garage door needs, you call Geis at 262-784-4250. That number again, 262-784-4250. It's Geis. Visit them online at geisdoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Pam.
Good friends of ours moved there, and they had invited us over for dinner a number of times. And they said, we waited way too long. You should come when you're younger. They had no idea it was going to be this great. There are just so many things to do, and it keeps you young. I mean, we have a lot of residents who are pushing 100. I believe they're there and still alive because of Three Pillars.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
The biggest gig in the world has finally returned. Summerfest is here, and WTMJ will be broadcasting live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio, right on the lakefront. Come by, say hi, meet your favorite WTMJ hosts. It's WTMJ at Summerfest all fest long. We are Wisconsin's radio station, WTMJ.
Jeremy Jean, UrbanMilwaukee.com is where you can find his great writing, and it is great on all things Milwaukee. All right, what are we talking about in these last few minutes before we get to the bottom of the hour news?
Let's
Jeremy?
talk real quick about what's happening just down the street from here at the 100 East building.
Yes.
Some people call it the Faison building. That was the developer that built it. 35-story office building, one of the tallest buildings in the state, one of the biggest buildings in the state, and one of the buildings in the state with the highest rate of office vacancy. Just not a great layout for a modern office building.
Water park? No, just kidding.
We had one of those in the other direction from the studio here. The plan is, and it's been public for a couple of years now, the building went into foreclosure. The plan was to redevelop it into apartments. That's inch forward, but it took a major step forward yesterday when the city of Milwaukee committed to providing $14 million in exchange for 75 of the approximately 370 apartments being set aside for people that make at or below the area median income. And why that's significant is it's really the first implementation of the city's new TIF policy, their tax incremental financing policy, that says we're going to try and subsidize more housing and housing development in exchange for getting more affordable housing out of that bargain.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, TIF, future tax revenue generates, obviously, increased property values. You sort of borrow from the future to pay for stuff now, I guess is the way I'd put it.
Yes, and in this case, the development is essentially a tax rebate. The developer will pay the taxes. The only way they can get the subsidy is if they actually deliver on the increased value, because they'll recoup the money they pay in over a set time period. So they also have to deliver that value quickly.
Yeah.
So what's the big, what is the significant change as far as this being the new policy?
So for the city would not do anything market rate before. It was, hey, I want to build nice new luxury apartments. And it was, okay, go build nice new luxury apartments. We want to help you. It was, we'll help apartments for really low income people. Now they're getting into more that middle income.
So the working housing.
Yep, the workforce housing. And that's exactly what they call this. It's people not even making below the area median income, just at Milwaukee County.
And this is what people like Tim Gochman from Newland has been advocating for, right? As far as we have all these luxury apartments, some of which are full, some of which are not. But there's more need for people who are in that middle income range to have, places that are nice, but also not luxury prices, right?
Yes, which the market just nationwide cannot create that type of housing right now. Construction costs are just too expensive.
And it can help us grow that population.
Yes.
That they're talking about.
The pathway to 1 million.
Step by step. Hey, we got local news before we get to that. The latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he has the votes to pass the massive spending and budget bill. That vote, though, on hold, with Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries still on the House floor in a marathon speech now in its seventh hour.
The bill would extend and expand the 2017 tax cuts and hugely ramp up spending on border security and immigration enforcement. Republican holdouts dropped their objections overnight. The Congressional Budget Office estimates some 12 million Americans could lose their coverage as a result of changes in the bill to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
The new jobs report shows U.S. employers added 147,000 jobs last month. That's more than 20,000 more jobs than what analysts projected. Today, marking the biggest getaway day of the 4th of July holiday weekend, AAA expects more than 72 million Americans to drive and fly this year. The TSA says 51,000 flights are scheduled to take off just today. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 11:31. Police sources now telling WTMJ that the tactical situation that played out near 6th and Reservoir on the Milwaukee's north side this morning was connected to an overnight shooting in Shorewood, in which 2 people plus a Shorewood police officer were shot. A tactical unit could be seen near 6th and Reservoir pulling a body from a black Mercedes after a short standoff. The medical examiner has since been called to the scene. We will have more information on this story once it's made available by Milwaukee police. The Wisconsin state budget is now law. Governor Evers put pen to paper on the $111 billion spending plan at about 1:30 this morning. The governor's signing of that legislation came less than 6 hours after the bill passed both the state assembly and the state senate. And at least 4 people are hurt after an explosion at an industrial park this morning in Hartford. Police say that the explosion took place at Signacast along Innovation Drive. A cause of the explosion is under investigation, though first responders say they don't believe any toxic chemicals were involved. It is currently an ongoing investigation. Time now for some news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up right now, 357 points at 44,841. The Nasdaq up 203 at 20,597. The S&P 500's up 52.5 points at 6279. It's financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. Details right now at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads and your WTMJ time saver traffic, things are looking pretty good across the system this morning, outside of some slowdowns heading northbound on 4145 right up near North Avenue. That, of course, is where all that construction work is going on. So no incidents to report, though there are some construction barrels out that way that are slowing things down. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, partly cloudy skies today. A chance of a pop-up storm or two, a high 83 lakeside, 88 degrees inland. Overnight tonight, an isolated shower is possible, partly cloudy otherwise, a low of 68. Tomorrow, hot and humid, chance of some rain, a high 90 degrees. Saturday, mostly sunny, hot and humid again, chance of a storm at night, a high of 93 degrees. Sunday, chance of some showers and storms, a high of 83. Monday, cooling down quite a bit, mostly sunny skies, a high of 78 degrees. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it is 78 degrees. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 11:33.
WTMJ's John Mercure here for Annex Wealth Management. If you have big questions about inflation, money, and your retirement goals, join me Tuesday, July 15th with your questions as I co-host an Instant Insight webinar with Annex Wealth Management's Chief Economist, Brian Jacobson. It's July 15th at 9 a.m. It's free, but you must register. Go to WTMJ.com, click the Instant Insight Register Now button, or check out events at AnnexWealth.com. Tuesday, July 15th, 9 a.m. It's free, but you need to register.
Hey, it's Vince Vetrano from Wisconsin's Morning News. It's baseball season, which means Brewers 360 is back every day at 8:40. Sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. Every day, all season long, we're joined exclusively by Brewers guests, including manager Pat Murphy and more. So Murphy, as we're wrapping up our interview.
Great talking. We really enjoyed it. Okay.
I was like, you did? Is he just in a good mood, or what'd y'all do to Murph?
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Save big on everything for your appliance upgrade when you shop at Menards. You need reliable and energy-efficient appliances to conquer the day. Menards is your one-stop shop with the largest in-stock appliance selection ready to take home today. Check out our top appliance brands including KitchenAid, Whirlpool, Maytag, Amana, and Criterion. Save big money on all appliances at Menards. And check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Oh, going to be hot this weekend, but who cares? 4th of July weekend, we're going to be out and about. We're going to be watching parades, fireworks, drone shows. I've learned more about drones in the last 3 minutes than I care to ever know. I will not be watching the drone show tonight.
The texters have opinions.
They have many opinions.
Just like social media.
A number of them have knowledge, it appears, about this.
Yeah, someone did some homework on it, but I'm not going to bore you with all that. All right, so I'm just going to even. I saw that we were going to talk about this. These fare skippers, these people who jump on transit buses, Milwaukee County Transit bus, and don't pay. Why?
This is becoming a big thing because of the big
1 in 4.
That's a lot.
The big, beautiful surprise that Milwaukee County Transit System delivered onto the county, which was, hey, we have a $10.9 million deficit, and we haven't told you about it. And the county's ordinance says if it's above $100,000, you're supposed to tell us.
Yeah,
well, last I checked, 10.9 million, many orders of magnitude.
Yes, a lot more.
So since we last talked, and I know Adam Roberts has done reporting for WTMJ about this as well, County Transportation Director Donna Brown Martin conveniently resigned and retired since this is all broke, because the county executive's office, the comptroller's office, and the county board all said they learned about this deficit from the news. So I'm glad they're urban Milwaukee readers, but it's probably not good policy to announce your deficits to the public first.
Especially that kind of a deficit.
So there's an audit coming of the transit system, and immediately there was talk of, well, it's all these people cheating their fares. That's why there's a deficit. And maybe it's clear that that's part of it. And Graham Kilmer has done some great reporting now. The county board has begun to dive into this. The thought is, so we had $10.9 million deficit. The thought is $4 million is lost. Lost is the weird word for this. Is
not gained.
Not gained. There are $4 million worth of rides taken every year that aren't paid for.
So for people who don't ride the bus, is there not is there like a little card? Is it cash only? But as far as you're getting on the bus and you need to pay, what does that usually look like with how our transit, like our buses are set up and how the bus driver can or cannot force you to pay?
It's evolved recently, and I wonder if this is part of it, and we'll get to a lot of details here, but it's a smartphone app now. For most riders, you wand a smartphone app over this reader. Now, the problem is Jaslyn, I think, is standing up in the background. They're about to show hers. It's very clumsy, so it's very difficult. It's slow sometimes.
So it slows down a line. If there's like 5 people trying to get on, you're all waiting to be able to tag your phone.
Yep. And the other thing I'd say about the transit system is I take the bus from Bayview into downtown fairly regularly, especially during the winter. People take it east-west across the city. The demographics of the transit system, where the route goes through, reflects the city. So between Bayview, Walker's Point, and downtown, I don't notice a lot of people not paying the fare. But when I've taken buses northwest across the city or in more impoverished areas, I do see more of those interactions. Now, the drivers aren't supposed to be fighting people.
There's no enforcement, right?
There's some drivers that do get up in people's, it's up in the face is weird because there's a barrier between them now, but they're like, you need to pay or I'm leaving. Get off my bus. There's others that just kind of shrug and wave people onto the bus.
Right.
And then with the slow readers, there's also times where I've been getting on the bus at Water, Wisconsin, very busy spot, and the driver just gets frustrated and just waves people onto the bus, presumably because they're running a couple minutes late already.
What was the choice to do a phone app instead of like a chargeable card or something that is just easily scannable?
So that there are chargeable cards still that tie into this same phone app system. They do appear to scan faster, but then you have to go somewhere to load them, or they're clumsy and it takes time to reload them. So that the phone app is the real-time thing. The holy grail that we were promised a couple of years ago and has never been delivered was you should be able to just tap your credit card like you can in Chicago, and it should read it just like you're at the grocery store or at Summerfest buying a beer or anywhere. It's much slower
So
than
it
that.
sounds like it's potentially less of just people breaking the social contract of being like, I'm just trying to like get a free bus ride, as it is convenience and urgency of getting on the bus and then forgetting and the thing not working and being like, well, whatever, it's one bus ride.
Well, the one thing the union brought up is we don't really have good data on how big this problem is. It's just an assumption that it's $4 million. The drivers are supposed to push this button every time it happens, and drivers have admitted they're not doing that.
If the deficit is 10, is that what you said, right? And this is 4, what's the 6?
The 6 is impacts on tariffs, on just material prices are going up. Now, some people have been privately questioning that already. Mechanic overtime and just general overhead cost increases. So we'll have an article later today. MCTS is looking at a hiring freeze now, but that could actually drive up overtime costs, because if you don't have as many mechanics working 9 to 5, you're all of a sudden paying someone to work extra and you're paying them more.
All right, message for the deadbeats: pay up. Stop skipping on your paying your fares. $4 million. It's a big chunk of money, and they're getting you to where you got to go. So pay the fare. I'm telling you,
do your part.
Do your part. Be part of the success that is
Part of the
Milwaukee.
solution, Steve.
Yes. Did
All
we
right.
make our case? Did we point taken?
Point taken. All right,
Come on,
back
people.
after this.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, they clicked on the blue button. We sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day and upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval shortly thereafter. We also let them know about AccuNet's property-specific pre-approval, where we might be able to include those magic words, no appraisal required. When they wrote their next offer, several $1,000s over asking to make sure someone else didn't end up sleeping in their dream home, their property-specific rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval did include that most powerful phrase, no appraisal required, and the sellers picked Steve and Ashley's offer over several others. If you think all mortgage lenders and pre-approvals are the same, think again. Go with the local mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win. We'll also likely save you $1,000 to $3,000 in closing costs for exactly the same rate as your bank. Whether you're looking to buy or refi, click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve. If you're avid, I never get tired of talking about avid because it changed my life and it could change yours as well. If you're dealing with poor sleep and the tired mornings, waking up not rested and refreshed, which should always be your goal, do what I did. I went to Abbott, 30-minute visit like 5 years ago. I was just a client, walked in. They put me at ease. They answered my questions. We did a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. They figured it out for me. My problem, sinuses, nasal passage, and my breathing triangle. After a short procedure done in office, I'm back to breathing better than ever and sleeping through the whole night. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Avid can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to avidknows.com. Schedule an appointment today because Avid knows when you breathe well, you live better.
East Troy Lions Music Festival. 3 stages, 21 acts. This weekend, carnival rides, food, family, fun, huge beer tent, fireworks Saturday, parade Sunday. EastTroyLions.org.
Happy 4th of July from the Mine Chef Family Restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mine Chef is open tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. on the 4th of July. So don't turn on your oven. Enjoy a super affordable lunch or dinner at the Mine Shaft. The Friday all-you-can-eat haddock fish fry is $7.99. What a great fish fry. What great value. Desserts are buy one, get one free. Enjoy a huge 18-inch pizza, a pitcher of beer or soda, and 100 game room credits to the world-class game room for under $45. The pizza easily feeds a family of 4, and your kids will love that world-class game room. Buy one pizza today, get a second pizza free. Order now and pick up shortly or dine in. It's fun and it's easy. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and in Oshkosh. Big food, big fun. Just walk in today for your free Thursday pizza. The Friday all-you-can-eat haddock fish fry is $7.99. Wow! That's what I'm talking about. MineShaftRestaurant.com.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Yes, I will be at Summerfest this afternoon. Looking forward to it. I'm already
Bring
in
your
Summerfest mode.
healthcare ID.
Yes.
So I want to see if you break. What's your record of buying people beer at a single event?
I had 8 people come up to me at the same time at State Fair a few years
There you
ago.
go. You gotta
They
beat
all-
8
they all
today.
got- They all got a beer on me, which I gladly will provide because I appreciate the hard work that they do. They don't get appreciated enough, in my opinion. All right. A couple more other quick ones before we get to the big flag story at the end of the Jeremy Janine appearance.
Always.
Which is becoming a tradition now, that and the calling. All right, go ahead.
Well, we got the trampoline too, but it's probably being debated right now.
Oh, boy.
So I have to correct myself.
Okay.
So
yes,
earlier in the show, we were talking about the state budget bill that passed in the middle of the night. It was signed in the middle of the night. And I had said that State Senator Jody Habush-Siddigan had voted no because I thought UWM did not get the funding that was in her district. Turns out she did vote no, but UWM did get the funding.
Yes,
I was wrong there.
She actually listed a series of things she thought were good things in the budget, including this health sciences UWM investment, and then still said there wasn't enough in this budget that the Republicans put forward, so I'd voted against it. So UWM, other than UW La Crosse, is one of the biggest winners in terms of capital funding out of this budget. $189 million. Well, what are they going to do with that? They're not going to build a new building, but they're going to substantially rehab a building they've wanted to do for more than a decade now, the former Columbia Hospital on the northwest corner of its campus. UWM bought that building in 2010. It's sat mostly vacant since then.
Okay.
It was a wise purchase. This massive property becomes available next to you. You're landlocked. You got to jump on it. They knew they didn't have everything lined up then, but for several budget cycles now, we want to do this health sciences consolidation. They have all these different health sciences programs. They're spread across 5 different buildings. They say that not only limits their capacity, but limits the effectiveness of the programs. They will move them all under one roof with this program. They will also free up more space on campus. So it's been the top ask of outgoing Chancellor Mark Monet for at least 2 state budget cycles now. And part of this grand bargain between Evers and the Republicans, that money gets released.
And congrats to UWM. One great acquisition, way to forward think, and the fact that they are, I think, making the right decisions and their leadership is doing the right things. I'm as a proud graduate, I'm happy for them. I think this is a smart call.
Now,
and thanks to the legislature for getting it done.
Because I haven't been able to actually comb through what's in the budget, do we know if the public safety building for Milwaukee got funded?
It didn't. The full ask wasn't there because they're at the planning stage now. So you'll have iterations of that, which is what UWM went through here. First, you need a couple $1 million in doing architectural designs. Then eventually you'll get a very hard number of we need X $100 million. That ask wasn't there yet, but it's coming.
Okay. All right. Vision Zero, moving on.
Vision Zero. And this was just kind of a deja vu thing for me. In 2018, I went to a press conference on 5th Street in Walker's Point at what was then, it's a restaurant that has since closed, but it's next to Kabbalah Washeka Fuel Cafe. There was a press conference. The city was becoming a complete streets-oriented design. Mayor Tom Barrett was there. There was this new alderman, Cavalier Johnson, in the background. This other person, Jessica Weinberg, was there with the Wisconsin Bike Federation. That was a big advocate for it. Flash forward 7 years. Alderman Cavalier Johnson is now the mayor. Jessica Weinberg is now the head of the city's Vision Zero, which is an international movement to eliminate traffic deaths. And they were a block away celebrating this 100-item action plan to attempt to eliminate traffic deaths by 2037 in Milwaukee. There are, and I'll read them real quick, 7 key areas. So they're not only engineering, but it's everything from accountability in the justice system, enforcement, to design of streets, to education. So 7 key areas for these 100 steps. Build safe streets for all users, prioritizing the most dangerous roads. 9% of streets have 59% of serious accidents. Support accountability in the justice system with a focus on prevention. Foster vibrant, people-centered places, promote traffic safety through communication, encouragement, and education, ensure timely and effective emergency medical services and medical care, because as Fire Chief Aaron Lipsky will say, the difference between a death and saving someone's life is often that response that comes from those first responders arriving on the scene. Advocate for safer vehicles, and champion state-level changes, because as we talk about a lot, there's serious restrictions on what the city can do on its own.
And Mayor Cavalier Johnson demonstrating the importance of actually doing things versus just talking about things. Both are important, but actually making some of these steps happen to make the streets safer. That stat you just threw out there about what was the 9% is response, that's insane, right?
And I think we all probably know those streets. Capitol Drive, Fond du Lac Avenue. They're not only the busiest streets, but the streets that are often the widest and have the least amount of parking on the sides.
Capitol's nuts. And I never miss a day that I don't have to drive on that street. All right. We are going to talk flags. Not that we want to, but we're going to, with Jeremy Janine from UrbanMilwaukee.com, Kristin, Brey, Scaffidi on point, taking on this Thursday edition right here on 620 WTMJ.
The Milo bedroom from Penny Mustard takes you back to the time of Mad Men, martinis, and mop tops.
Right on. I love Milo's clean, streamlined look. It's a gas.
Made in the USA and scaled to fit any room.
Perfect for your pad. It's totally bodacious.
Wrong decade, Arvid.
Don't be so square, man. The Milo bedroom, starting at just $217 a month with no interest till July of 2027 through July 6th at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. Get sale discounts store-wide all month long. What a great time to shop for all of your Christmas needs. Get your holiday decor and so much more, along with all the great bargains we always have for you. It's Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
When traveling at 20 miles per hour, the average stopping distance is about 40 feet.
That stopping power is calculated in both thinking and braking distance.
And assuming you've got the thinking and braking part down, the only thing left is good tires.
Just Google Richlands to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 convenient locations.
And rest assured, we'll put you in the right tire no matter what sort of vehicle you drive.
Plus, every tire purchase that we install automatically comes with our free flat tire protection plan.
5 conveniently located facilities, all AAA approved.
And all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to install your tires.
So Google Richlands.
Or go to richlands.com.
And remember to be safe, buckle up, and hey, always make sure you have good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands, your
due for tire service.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richlands Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richlands.
Wisconsin's Midday News is back at the big gig. With all the music,
The Killers,
food,
give me that sampler platter,
sights and sounds
I'll see you on the Sky Glider
that Summerfest has to offer.
Tune in each Thursday of the festival from noon to 3 to hear me, Greg Matzik,
and me, Jessica Ty,
broadcasting live from the Pella Windows and Doors mobile studio.
It's Wisconsin's Midday News, live from Summerfest.
Hi, I'm Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, reminding you to double-check your home. Siding Unlimited is the proven exteriors professionals for 31 years. Family-owned and locally operated right here in Wisconsin. Call Siding Unlimited and visit sidingunlimited.com.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring great tips on how to operate your home. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
This is who I'm seeing tonight.
Benson Boone?
Yeah.
That guy's crazy. You ever see his
He's like acrobatics?
My goodness, he's going to break his necks at some point. I mean, it's awesome to watch. The dude, he's all in.
You know the backstory of him?
No.
So
He's a gymnast?
This is why I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. So he auditioned for American Idol
Okay.
as like a 19-year-old or something, and he's in the audition room that we all know with American Idol when they're first going through the rounds, and he goes, I only realized I could sing like a year ago. And he looks like a frat boy, right?
Yeah.
Like now he has a mustache and he's got a much more alternative look, but he just looks like any kind of like 19-year-old run-of-the-mill kid. And all the judges are like, you just realized you could sing like a year? Like, what is this guy going to be able to do? So he sits down on the piano and he's like trying to find his key. And then he opens his mouth and this unbelievable voice comes out. They're like, wait, you just realized this? You've been sitting on this whole time? He ends up quitting. He makes it, but then he quits American Idol before he makes it any further because he wants to make it on his own. And now he's headlining.
That's a great story. That's somebody
performing
worth
at
seeing.
the Grammys. Yeah. So there you go. All right. What's going on with the flag? Jeremy, Janine.
I can't believe we're still talking about this,
know.
but here we are. We're actually only at the beginning of another several months of debate about this. We now have a task force, and we know who's on the task force. The task force has no money. It has no staff, but it has 4 months to host a design contest and rank the 10 best entries, then return them to the Common Council. And the Common Council, this is where the problem continues to recur, is free to just ignore whatever the task force does and adopt whatever flag it sees fit. But just to give these people their moment of fame, we have Visit Milwaukee creative team leader Marisol Acevedo, Alice's Garden executive director Venus Williams, and she's going to chair the task force.
Okay.
And then city budget director, former alderman, and flag aficionado, I will say, Nick Kovac. He had lots of thoughts about the last time because he was on the council.
Right.
I remember he didn't like. He preferred a different flag that won the 2016 design contest.
So he has opinions.
So those are Mayor Cavalier Johnson's 3 appointments. Common Council President.
He's also a Harvard guy, by the way, so he's got some credibility.
He's a Harvard math graduate.
Why does going to Harvard make you good at flags?
It's vexillology.
I
Don't
just
worry
think
about
you
it.
get some credibility because you graduated from Harvard. I don't care. To me, it still matters.
Okay.
For the budget director job, that's probably a good candidacy. I don't know about flag design.
Math major.
So Jose Perez has 3 people. John Gerda, historian. Clark Square Neighborhood Initiative Executive Director Kevin Kushel, who used to work for DCD and is just kind of a man about town.
Imagine Gerda will do a whole show about this story at some point, like 20 years from now, boring us to tears.
And then the third Perez.
Back off from John Gerda. I like John Gerda.
God. Tell me in 5 minutes what you spent an hour telling me. That's my take. Go ahead.
And then the third appointment is former school board member and Walker's Point Center for the Arts Executive Director, Chela Garcia. And then Mullally Coggs, she gets to make 2 appointments because she's the chair of she gets to make 3 appointments because she's the chair of the Milwaukee Arts Board. She, for some reason, only made 2. So we now have 8 members on the task force, meaning they could tie.
An even number. Oh, man.
Could there be a graphic designer added to the mix?
There's not one at the moment.
Yeah, maybe that would just be a thought. Somebody actually knows how to put stuff
Design
together.
stuff?
Yeah.
Or has an eye for it?
Maybe.
I would a little bit caution against that because how we got in this situation from the 1950s is we had an alderman who was a graphic designer and he didn't like the results of the design contest and he just put them all together and that's how we have our flag. But Coggs appointed Milwaukee Public Library Foundation Director of Philanthropy Antoine Carter and Glyph Global Creative founder Ebony Sally.
All right. Well, we'll see if we talk about this again next week, but
I think we're safe.
All right.
Continue.
Jeremy, Janine, urbanwalking.com. Thanks. Have a great weekend. All of you have a great 4th of July weekend. We'll be back on Monday. News is next, 620 WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Summer savings don't get